Fall isn't here just yet, but summer will soon be making its unofficial exit. Labor Day is a chance to get that last feel of summertime fun in at local lakes and parks. And joining me to talk about some fun locations and safety tips is Jay Weems. He's the Senior Land Management Specialist with Georgia Power. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
And so when people think of Georgia Power, they don't really think of lakes. Where are some of those lakes around here that you guys have, and then what kind of goes into managing all that?
So the local lakes that we have are Lake Oconee and Lake Sinclair, the probably closest to this area. We also have lakes in the Albany area as well as in West Georgia near the Columbus area. Along with our lakes that we have 14 lakes all throughout the state that we have recreational areas on. Along with that, Georgia Power also owns 100,000 acres that we manage. You know, to give you some sort of idea, last year alone, 61,000 employee volunteer hours were put in to help managing those areas.
And so with you guys owning so much water and property on the water, how important is safety to you guys?
Safety is our number one concern. You know, Georgia Power's number one goal for anyone that's around any body of water is to remember the SPLASH guidelines to water safety.
What are those guidelines with SPLASH?
Well, the guidelines for splash water is an acronym. We definitely want for adults to supervise any children that are in the water, wear your life preservers, have a plan for emergencies if they were to come around. Look before you leap. Know the depth of the water before you jump in. Those are some of the main things that splash involve.
And a lot of folks don't really know this, but you guys also own some campgrounds too. And so where are some of those, and how much does it usually kind of cost to camp there?
So we actually have 4 campgrounds throughout the state. Blanton Creek is on Lake Harding in the Columbus area, where our other 3 campgrounds are Old Salem, Lawrence Shoals, and Parks Ferry. Those are all located on Lake Oconee in the Greensboro and Inkton area.
Okay, and so if someone wants to wrap up with camping at one of your campsites on Labor Day weekend, how can they make a reservation?
Just go to our website at www.gpclakes.com.
And here's that website for you on the screen again, reservations.gplakes.com. All right, and stick with us. We're going to move out of summer fun and into hurricane season. And often bad weather means that power outages will sometimes occur. In our 8 o'clock hour, we'll learn how Georgia Power is getting ready with a reliable electric grid. Stick with us. Thanks for sticking with us this morning. In our 7 o'clock hour, Georgia Power joined us to talk about summer fun and safety. And now they're back to talk about weather safety and the grid reliability. And joining me this hour is Amanda Sowles from Georgia Power. So for a lot of people that don't know, what exactly is the grid and how does it work?
So the grid is made up of our power plants, substations, and our infrastructure, which is our underground power lines and our overhead power lines. We have a diverse energy mix to provide for our customers throughout the entire state.
And last year there were several storms that impacted our area. You know, Hurricane Helene always comes to mind and some of those other ones. How do your crews work to restore power when stuff like that happens?
So we monitor storms days in advance, and we want to make sure we're moving resources where we can before the storm hits. So after a storm passes, we send out our damage assessment teams to kind of survey the damage so our crews know exactly how much equipment to take out and things like that. So then our crews go out, they restore the power, but sometimes it's not just restoring power. Sometimes it's completely rebuilding infrastructure from scratch. So every storm is a little bit different, but we know it's really inconvenient to be without power. So we really want our customers to know that we are prepared for storm season and we want to restore power as quickly and as safely as possible.
And what are some of the things that you guys are doing to make sure that grid stays intact as well?
We recently frozen our rates for 3 years, and we are planning to add 1,000 miles of transmission lines throughout our entire state. That's because our state is growing and we want to make sure we have the infrastructure that we need to support all of this growth for both our residential and our business customers.
And how has technology helped your workers tackle those outages quicker?
Well, we need our technology, right? So we use drones and we use our mobile command center and we use our smart devices. So sometimes just because you don't see a truck doesn't mean we're not working when the power is out. We have smart devices to where sometimes our crews can just reroute power before crews in a truck are even there. So we want to make sure we're utilizing all the technology possible to restore power quickly.
And we are no stranger to severe weather here in Central Georgia. So what are some of those tips for people to make sure that their home is safe when it comes to severe weather and preparing for severe weather?
Well, we know storms are common this time of year, so be prepared. Have an emergency preparedness kit with non-perishable food items. Do you have a generator? Do you have a plan? Do you have extra prescriptions and medications? Just know that in the case of emergency, do you know what you're going to do with your family? And don't forget about your pets.
And in the event that the power does go out, what's the best way for folks to keep in touch with what's going on?
So all of our customers are automatically enrolled in outage alerts on your phone. So you will know exactly what's going on in your area. And we also want customers to know that we are constantly posting on social media. We have crews out in the field surveying damage, taking photos. So we want to communicate with you so you know exactly what's going on. You have just as much information as we do.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. And as you know, we never really, of course, want the power to go out, but when it does, as Amanda said, a great way to stay in contact is their social media pages. So if you're on X or Twitter, @Georgia Power is a great way to keep in touch about those outages.